What is something society deems acceptable but shouldn't be? Overbred dogs. This is the best answer. Some of those dogs live a life of torture just because some ass thought it would be cute to make them like that. Yeah. The fact that these overbred monstrosities are deemed purebred makes it worse. There's literally zero scientific basis in what makes a dog purebred. It's just a type of dog with a type of feature that some dog lovers really liked back when they made up the term and created shows/contests to pick the best purebred dogs. Money and politics. Throwaway society. One-use plastic and paper everything. And plastic film or plastic shells containing paper wrappers and boxes that hold our products. Or even worse, individually plastic wrapped produce. Just had a tea place move into my uni called Muga Tea. I thought boba places were bad on plastic. Every part of their product except the liquid is heavier than usual plastic to appear luxurious and is intended to be single-use. It's a good product, but until stores and the ineffective no reusables during COVID, they don't have my business. Rich people getting away with crimes. The law demonstrates its infinite generosity and equity by fining both a rich person and a poor person the same amount for a parking violation. Working long hours and being expected to put work before everything. I had a boss ask me why I didn't want to stay late to help get more work done. I said everything that matters to me happens outside this building, and they didn't know how to reply lol. Also, this was the end of a 10-hour overnight shift. If I had ownership in the company and then the success of the company personally affects me, I'll work late and hard to make it worth it. Otherwise, 8 hours. The price of insulin in US. Paying for medical insurance only to be told where to go and who you can see for your medical care that you paid insurance for. Clipping dog ears. Should be illegal. Beauty pageants for children. That shit is wrong. I once booked a hotel in the Chicago area without knowing there was a child beauty pageant going on. I went to the show out of general curiosity. I left 15 minutes later feeling disgusted not only with the event, but myself. You have to suppress some sick thoughts to tell yourself, yes, this is okay. Edit, thanks for the gold kind stranger. I'll elaborate further how I felt sitting there watching the beauty pageant. As a photographer, I enjoy watching cultures, whatever that may be. So this pageant was a new experience for me that I at least had to see a little bit of. At some point I realized that I'm a 30-something single man sitting alone near the back. I glanced around and realized, oh, I am not alone. There are other men and their eyes are glued to the stage. What is happening on stage is blurring the lines between appropriate attraction to a legal adult and a very inappropriate association to minors dressed and performing as adults. Over time you become desensitized to that voice telling you, no, this is wrong. What I'm doing is wrong. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's when I got up, marched back to my hotel room, grabbed a beer and took a shower even though I had showered prior to going to the convention center. Let's also get real, parents of child beauty pageant participants. Those offenders are there in the crowd. You put your children up there and they are feeding that fantasy. To say otherwise is, well, I'll keep that thought to myself. Jobs where you get your schedule week by week and never knowing when you're going to be working. I don't understand why you can't get your schedule a month at a time. Expecting an 18-year-old to know enough about life to decide what they want to do for the rest of it, only to turn and try to scam money out of them for bullshit degrees at every turn. This, normalize a gap before college, a few years of exploring and traveling. Figure out who you are before jumping into the grind. Edit to clarify based on comments below. By travel, I mean get out of your hometown for a bit. Go work in the city and the countryside. See what you like. Not go to Spain and come back an atheist. That's a privileged AF view. Unpaid internships. It's like slavery with extra steps. Famous people telling others how to live their lives. P.S. It's not in any way a dig at any famous person. This always bothers me because often the validity of the opinion is based on the success and fame of the celebrity. Keanu Reeves could buy 50% shares in Goop and the Reddit hive mind would do a 180 overnight. Similarly, when a beloved celebrity, who is famous for things outside of politics, begins talking politics, it sways a ton of their followers just due to their influence. On the other hand, people who believe in something should be encouraged to endorse it, whether that is a brand, product, political opinion, or lifestyle choice. It just infuriates me because there are some things that should not be subject to an individual's influence. And although the argument could be made that the fault lies in the followers, there does need to be some fault put on the influencer. Being forced to stand up during a job and not being allowed to sit down at it. Jesus, this blew up Edit too. A dude got offended by my edit, so I'm adding another just to spite him. Sense of entitlement and being rude to service/retail employees. It's disgusting. Yeah, I never got this. These people aren't your slaves. No reason to treat them like shit. Child marriage with parental permission. Would you say society deems it acceptable though? It's pretty socially frowned upon in the West, even though some local laws allow it for religious reasons. From a very young age you are always told to aim for perfection in everything you do by parents/classmates/teachers and are praised for doing so, but later on you learn that it's completely unreasonable and unnecessary most of the time. And the realization can be quite painful for some. Kinda feels like you became worse at everything when in reality it's just that everything became harder and you're supposed to choose what you find important and how much you should work on different things. Edit. Wow. Thanks everyone for the stories and discussions. I really didn't think this would go this far. And until you come to that realization, you have an internal frustration with yourself, but an even greater frustration towards people who clearly do not aim for perfection. I was an asshole to others who weren't trying hard enough when I was younger. At least in the U.S. Working hours. I work at an accounting firm and I get my work done in 6 hours while relaxing. If I got to leave after my work was done correctly, I would grind for a hard 4 hours, no distractions, and get it done. But no. We have to entertain ourselves the remaining few hours for whatever reason. Other countries and cultures, Bosnia for example, are very relaxed with work. They let you take long breaks to go get coffee and they don't work you to death and people are happy. Here in U.S., I'm almost scared to take a vacation day or I lose my job or spot in the promotion queue. Exploitation of short-lived, miserable, underpaid, and easily replaceable workers. Tipping and minimum wage. You shouldn't need free labor to run your business. Minimum wage is a good thing, right? If there were no minimum wage, people could get away with paying less. Since there is no minimum wage law, that says you have to pay at least that. In other countries where the minimum wage is higher, it's a good thing. The dehumanization of homeless people. Similarly, people who are in jail. It's insane how many people view those in jail as just horrifically bad people who deserve to be there. The majority of incarcerated people are there for non-violent crimes, but so many people think, well, if he's in jail/prison, he must have done something really bad. I hope he rots there. This is so insanely common. Lots of people even think prison rape is something good that serves to teach people a lesson. I've been downvoted plenty of times for saying it's wrong regardless of what the person in question has done. Clothes without pockets. I know there are a lot more important things, but it needs to be said. It may not be as emotionally scarring as some of the other topics, but I am enraged over the concept that, as a woman, I should care more about the line of my clothing as opposed to its functionality. Our clothing is more expensive, less well-made, and lacks pockets. Women's fashion is just ridiculous. The promoted sexualization of teenagers, being rude to retail and food service employees. Edit. Just being rude to workers in general. Like, they are just doing their job. Stop it. The giant ass slits in bathroom stalls. Using plastic disposable items every single day. Fossil fuels every single day. Giving children homework after already being at school all day. 3-hour SATs determining the future of a teenager's entire life. In the US, moms going back to work a few days/weeks after birth. Insane. I see this a lot, but it's crazy to think about. In the US it's illegal to take puppies from their moms for 8 weeks. Dogs have better protections than human women. The hatred for GMO foods and the organic food industry. While there's issues with GMOs, there's many more positives. Many foods you eat would be inedible if they hadn't been modified. Watermelon and bananas as an example. GM foods often take less space to grow, reducing deforestation. Some require less pesticides and herbicides and they create their own, reducing the chemicals that are put out into nature. Some are more shelf stable, wasting less food. There are also many GMOs that were also created for positive health effects, like golden rice, which helps reduce blindness due to malnutrition. Places like rural Africa heavily benefit from this. The organic food industry is manipulative and uses scare tactics to get people to pay their higher prices. Sorry, but I don't want to spend extra on a tomato that lasts way less time on the shelf, and most of them will be wasted because you can't sell them in time. Or that will rot immediately if I don't use it ASAP. Nearly every fruit and vegetable in the grocery store today has been genetically modified. It just took a lot longer. Non-GMO labels on food effectively mean nothing in the US. At least organic certifications have requirements through the USDA. Anything labeled non-GMO just goes through a self-audited independent organization. Just a heads up, the USDA recently implemented bioengineered labeling requirements that become mandatory after this year. It's like non-GM, but you only have to label if there is detectable genetically modified material, aka proteins. So corn oil from genetically modified corn is not considered bioengineered since there is no protein in it. Overworking and being sleep deprived as a result of it.